So Nelly spends all his money. Spent all his money. How are you going to get your money from him if he's broke?
Casino, I want the Masters game. You don't get it. It ain't about the money. I want the Masters. I want what's mine. See, he ain't gonna be able to pay me. His card gonna decline, and when his card decline, the Masters is mine. Stop playing with me.
But what I'm saying is that he's the president of the United States. He's not the candidate for the United States. He's the president.
DL Hughley just dropped a wild bomb, claiming Nelly owes Donald Trump $1 million. Yeah, you heard that right. According to DL, the same man who once had us all singing Ride With Me is now allegedly riding on a debt, not to a label or the IRS, but straight to Trump himself. The internet went nuts. Fans were losing it. Some laughing, some shocked, and others calling no way. Because if DL's telling the truth, then Nelly isn't just dealing with money issues. He's facing a whole new level of public embarrassment. But if DL's lying or just stirring the pot, then this might be one of the boldest and pettiest call-outs we've seen in a minute. Either way, it's straight up messy. So here's how it all went down. DL Hughley was live on his show, going off about fake friends, celebrity hypocrisy, and how fame can flip your world upside down. Then out of nowhere, boom, he drops Nelly's name. DL said, "These rappers love to act like they're bosses, but half of them owe somebody. I know for a fact one of them owes Trump $1 million. The moment he said it, silence hit the room. That awkward kind of silence that says, oh, he really went there. And just like that, social media exploded. Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube lit up in seconds. Clips of the moment spread like wildfire. And DL didn't even need to repeat the name. Everyone already knew who he meant, Nelly. Yeah, that's what had the internet spinning. The headlines were going crazy. Nelly broke, Nelly in debt, Nelly owes Trump. It sounded wild, but once people started digging up old receipts, tax problems, label lawsuits, and unpaid business drama, suddenly it didn't seem so far-fetched. Maybe DL wasn't bluffing after all. And let's be real, folks even started bringing up Ashanti saying, how you think she leveled up? The rumors were flying nonstop.
Come back to St. Louis and visit?
Come on, guy. He always say Louis, but only at the casino. That's where he lose all his money at. And then he go down there on the dub and get his right? And he go over there on Shreve and get his perks. And then he go down there and get his X. He be at all the dope spots. He's getting and shit. Well, not so about, but he always get it on credit. Like he still don't get no money for that. Okay, everything he get off his love, off because he Nelly. That's what I'm up on. No, he up yet. That's what I want. But he need to give me my $50 million. That's what I'm on. You saw he get caught with the X. So you know I ain't cap. You saw that. Yeah, he go in St. Louis, get his little drugs, and go there and lose all his money to the casino. Right? That's what my $50 million at. My $50 million down in that casino.
But before jumping into whether this whole thing is real or not, we gotta talk about why this story hit so hard. See, Nelly's not just some random rapper. He's a legend of the 2000s, the man behind Hot in Harry, Country Grammar, and Dilemma. We're talking about diamond certified global superstar status. For years, Nelly was the symbol of smooth success. No scandals, no thug image, just hits and charisma. He was that clean-cut crossover artist who put the Midwest on the map. So hearing that same Nelly supposedly owes Donald Trump $1 million, that's like hearing LeBron James borrowing lunch money. It just doesn't sound real, but that's exactly what made the story explode online. And here's the thing, DL Hughley isn't just some gossip vlogger chasing clicks. He's a comedian, commentator, and insider who's been around the industry long enough to know what's real. So when DL said Nelly owed Trump, people didn't just laugh, they listened. Because when he talks, even the haters pay attention. See, Nelly's name has actually floated around Trump's circle before, just never in the spotlight. Back in the early 2000s, when Trump was busy turning himself into a brand instead of a politician, he was everywhere. Rubbing shoulders with entertainers, showing up at charity galas, locking down sponsorship deals, even jumping into celebrity-linked real estate projects. And word on the street is, Nelly got caught up in one of them. Allegedly, it was some luxury business venture that crashed and burned after Trump's company backed out. The whispers say there were unpaid fees, lost investments, and quiet settlements behind the scenes. Nothing was ever confirmed publicly, but for years, insiders have been hinting that Nelly's team took a serious hit from a Trump-connected deal that went wrong. Now here we are in 2025, and DL Hughley's suddenly bringing it all back up, either as a reminder or a bombshell. Because DL didn't call it a bad investment. He called it a debt, straight up. He said, that boy owed money to Trump and he still ain't paid it. Then he twisted the knife, saying that's why Nelly keeps quiet about politics now. Brutal. And honestly, the timing couldn't be worse for Nelly. Folks were already whispering about his money situation. Remember that tax mess a few years back? When fans literally streamed hot and hairy non-stop to help him pay off back taxes? That moment became pure pop culture. The internet actually streamed him out of debt. While Nelly's been all smiles in interviews, flashing grins with Ashanti and rocking stages on his throwback tours, the whispers about his money situation never really faded. So when DL Hughley dropped the words $1 million and Donald Trump in the same breath, the internet lost it. It hit like a nerve that had been waiting to be exposed. And of course, the internet did what it does best. It investigated. Fans turned into full-time detectives overnight, digging up old clips, charity photos, and business records tied to Trump's entertainment ventures. And what they found only fueled the drama. There were photos of Nelly inside Trump Tower, reports of him performing at a private Trump event in the early 2000s, and even mentions of an endorsement check that supposedly never cleared. Now, none of this actually confirmed DL's $1 million claim, but it sure made people wonder. Like, why was Nelly doing business with Trump at all? And why is DL choosing to bring this up now? Is it a personal grudge or something political? Because let's not forget, DL Hughley has been one of Trump's loudest critics for years. He's called Trump a racist, a con artist, a fraud, all of it, on camera and unapologetically. So imagine his reaction when he hears that a rapper he once respected might have had money ties with Trump. You already know DL was gonna blast it. For him, this wasn't just about exposing debt. It was about calling out loyalty.
So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the fuck one of you.
DL went even further, saying, these dudes talk about the struggle, about the hood, about the people. But when it's time to pay their bills, they run to Trump Tower. Don't preach to me about the streets when you're borrowing from a man who don't even like you. That line from DL Hughley hit like a wrecking ball. It tore straight through Nelly's image, the one he built for decades as the chill, clean-cut, drama-free success story from the Midwest. Nelly was always that smooth rapper who didn't need beef or controversy to shine. But now, DL's painting him as a sellout, a man in debt to a racist millionaire and staying quiet about it. The reaction online was split right down the middle. Half the internet rushed to defend Nelly, calling DL out for being messy, saying he's chasing clout and throwing shade for clicks. The other half said DL was doing what he's always done, speaking the uncomfortable truth that nobody else wants to touch. It turned into a full-blown internet debate, with fans arguing over who was really keeping it real. Meanwhile, Nelly himself, silent. Not a word publicly. At least, not yet. But people close to him have jumped in, denying the whole story, calling DL's claims false and inflammatory. They say DL's just spreading gossip with zero receipts. But here's the cold reality. In today's internet world, once a story goes viral, denials don't even matter anymore. The damage gets done instantly. People believe what sounds dramatic, and let's be honest, Nelly owes Trump $1 million. Sounds insanely dramatic. It's the kind of headline that travels faster than any truth ever could. And that's where it gets real deep. Because if there's even a grain of truth hiding in all this noise, what does that say about the industry? Let's be real. A lot of artists go broke in silence. They post the luxury, not the struggle. They don't tweet when the checks stop clearing or when the bills start stacking. You'll never see a caption that says, my label pulled funding or my tour didn't break even. Nah, all you see online are Bentleys, bottles, and backstage passes. But what's hidden behind those highlights? Maxed out credit cards, unpaid promoters, bounce checks, and managers who vanish when the tax bill hits. There's the tour loans, the fake brand deals, and those 5-year contracts that look golden but pay out pennies once the fine print kicks in, and that's exactly what DL Hughley just peeled back. Whether you love him or can't stand him, he might have just cracked the whole illusion. Because what he said wasn't only about Nelly, it was about everybody out here fronting like they're rich while barely staying afloat. The rappers, the comedians, the influencers, the fake moguls, the entire system that sells success but lives on survival. DL said it straight up. You think these rappers rich? You think these comedians own their mansions? They leasing everything. One bad deal and they crying about taxes. That line hit like a slap across the culture because deep down people know it's true. Behind all the glitz, the cars, and the iced out watches, most of these stars are just playing a dangerous game of appearances. They're not living large, they're living leveraged, surviving off label advances, tour loans, and merch fronts that barely keep them above water. They might flex a $100,000 chain on Instagram, but what you don't see is the fine print, a contract saying they owe the label 5 more albums before they touch any real profit. DL didn't just call out Nelly, he called out the entire illusion that fame equals fortune. And that truth, it stings. Because behind every flashy post, there's a story most of them are too scared to tell. You see the Rolls Royce, the designer fits, the private jets, but you don't see the monthly payments that cost more than a mortgage. Most of these artists aren't real millionaires. They're middle-class people living million-dollar lifestyles they can't afford without the industry machine holding them up. And when that machine finally pulls the plug, it's game over. That's what DL Hughley was really saying when he brought up Nelly's name. It wasn't just a shot at one man, it was a wake-up call to the entire system. He was exposing a cycle, how the industry builds stars to look untouchable, then lets them crumble in silence when the fame fades and the checks slow down. Because when money gets tight in entertainment, nobody tells the truth. They don't admit it. They just double down on the illusion. Suddenly they're doing more club appearances, more features, more brand deals, all to keep the image alive. But behind closed doors, it's pure panic and pressure. That's why DL's words hit so hard. Because everybody in the game knows at least one person quietly drowning. A rapper who can't pay their team. A comedian who's gone from arenas to open mics. A singer who lost everything after one flop album. DL didn't invent this truth. He just said it out loud. And some fans believe DL's not even mad at Nelly personally. They think he's using Nelly as a proxy, a way to take another jab at Trump while making a point about the industry's fake loyalty and fragile success. One viral tweet said, "He's mad that Nelly ever touched Trump's money." And honestly, maybe that's true, because DL Hughley's whole brand is built on accountability. He's the guy who calls out anyone who aligns with the wrong side, even by accident. But if you listen close, there's another layer under all this. Jealousy. Not jealousy over money, but over legacy. See, DL's always been respected, smart, outspoken, sharp with his words, but he's never been loved the way Nelly was. Nelly had the hits, the charts, the girls screaming his name, the crossover fame. He wasn't just a rapper, he was a moment in culture. So maybe DL saw this as his shot to grab a little spotlight too. Whether that's true or not, the end result's the same. Now everybody's talking. And when the internet talks, it doesn't hold back. The memes started flying instantly. Hot in debt, must be the money that he owes. And country grammar, tax addition. The internet was ruthless, but that's just how it works. The second a rumor hits, it turns into content. And that's the part that really stings. Because no matter what the truth is, this story has already shifted how people see Nelly. Once someone drops that broke label on you, it sticks forever. You could have $10 million in the bank, but people will still remember the headline, not the reality. But let's keep it real. Nelly's not broke. He's still out here performing sold-out shows, running his business ventures from liquor brands to fitness deals, and living comfortably. But that doesn't mean he's not juggling things behind the scenes. Every artist, no matter how rich, has debts, contracts, and favors owed. The only difference is most of them keep it quiet. DL just dragged it all into the light, and that's what makes this story so powerful. Because at the end of the day, it's not really about money. It's about reputation, pride, and how fast the internet can flip your legacy upside down. At its core, this whole story isn't just about money. It's about pride. It's about how celebrities front like they're winning, flashing luxury and success while quietly hiding the cracks. It's about how fame can make you look rich even when your bank account's telling a different story. And now, the entire culture's watching every move. People are waiting to see what happens next. Will Nelly respond? Will Trump throw a jab? Or will DL Hughley double down and stir the pot even more? Because we already know how this game goes. Once one truth hits the internet, 10 more follow. You can bet more names will get dragged in, more receipts will pop up, and more secrets will spill out. The industry runs on whispers and quiet debts, and when one person finally breaks that silence, the rest usually can't resist. DL might have just set off a chain reaction bigger than even he expected, because now this isn't just about Nelly or Trump, it's about the whole illusion that fame equals fortune. DL Hughley just exposed the truth that most people refuse to face. Fame doesn't guarantee freedom. It can actually be another kind of trap. Money fades just as fast as the lights do, and those smiles you see on red carpets, half the time they're hiding stress, debt, and desperation. And maybe that's exactly why Nelly's staying silent, because sometimes silence isn't guilt, it's self-preservation. So what do you think? Did DL really drop the truth? Or is he just stirring the pot for views? Is Nelly really tied up in some $1 million Trump debt? Or is this just another internet illusion built to break a legend's name? Whatever side you're on, one thing's for sure. This story is far from over. Because when money, pride, and politics collide, the drama never really ends. In hip-hop and Hollywood, the beefs fade, but the receipts never die. Every exposed secret just sets off another. And if DL's right, this might be just the first domino to fall. If you're feeling these deep dives into the craziest stories shaking the culture, smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and share this video with someone who loves the drama. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next wild chapter, because this is Buzz and Drama, where the truth ain't always clean, but it's always loud. See you in the next one.